It's Charles Oliveira fight day today, and as a fan, I'm scared, man. If it doesn't go his way, he honestly may end up retiring. Let's get into it. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video saying that Charles Oliveira was absolutely cooked. I just believe he's returning to the octagon way too soon after getting knocked out literally like 2 months ago. And this was out cold, not a TKO or not being blobbed out like Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades. This is like legit out cold. And we've seen the effects that this can have on a fighter after they return too quickly from a KO loss. Take Volkanovski for example. Not to mention, he's getting up there in age, man. He's 35 years old. He's not a spring chicken. That being said though, I am changing my opinion. I think Charles Oliveira will beat Mateusz Gamrot. Now, I'm not flip-flopping for no reason. When I made that video, I said he was going to lose because he was fighting Rafael Fiziev, a guy that has a track record of getting in these brawls, and he was fighting a guy who is predominantly a striker. And let's be honest, a guy that wobbled Justin Gaethje. But now he's fighting Gamrot, a guy that's not really known for his striking. He is very grappling heavy and relies on his submissions, and let's be honest, is a bit of a decision merchant. But I'm just not that worried for Charles, man. If he gets chinned by Gamrot, well then I think, yeah, it's the end. But I think majority of this fight will be on the ground. I think it will be quite similar to the fight that he had with Arman Tsarukyan, but I just don't think that Gamrot is as dangerous as Arman Tsarukyan, even though he did beat him. So to be honest, I do see Charles winning this fight by submission for a couple of different reasons, but the biggest one is if you look at every opponent that Ilia Topuria has knocked out in the UFC, they've always came back and won their next fight. I'm just saying, man, you gotta believe in the prophecy. Not to mention that Gamrot literally is taking this fight on like 1 week's notice. Granted, he's probably always training, but he wasn't in camp. And to fight someone like Charles Oliveira, you need a full camp to prepare for that style. Dan Hooker recently beat Gamrot, and if you really rewatch that fight, Dan Hooker was able to defend majority of his takedowns, and Charles Oliveira and Dan Hooker are on completely different levels when it comes to grappling and wrestling. I think with Gamrot not being in a camp and not being fully prepared, he's going to gas out in those later rounds. We saw it in that Dan Hooker fight, and I'm pretty sure he had a full camp for that. This is a 5-round main event, and Charles Oliveira, he's a seasoned vet, man. He's going to be able to keep up that pace for 5 straight rounds. And to be honest, I just don't see this going past the 3rd round. I think Charles will be able to hang on the feet with Gamrot and will be able to dominate in the grappling. But let's just say, for whatever reason, Gamrot goes in there and has an absolute stellar performance and is able to chin Oliveira, because I do think that's the only way that Gamrot could win this fight is if he lands a big shot and, you know, Charles Oliveira hasn't fully recovered from that KO loss. I think Charles Oliveira will retire, man. I mean, to be honest, he's fighting in front of his home crowd, and I think if he loses to Gamrot, that pushes him even further away from the title. And Charles Oliveira doesn't seem like the type of guy that is just fighting to fight, unless there's a matchup that is going to make him some really big bucks, or it's for the title or the BMF title. I just don't see him not retiring if he loses. He expressed interest in fighting Max Holloway after this fight, but that's only if he wins this fight. They're not going to give him Max Holloway after losing to Gamrot. I just think if he loses, this will be the perfect time and place to retire in front of his home crowd. Granted, the Brazilian audience might just leave the venue by the time the fight's over. As a fan, I want to see him win, but I'm really worried because while I do think he does have a lot of advantages going into this fight, he also just got KO'd, man. One thing I will point out is that Gamrot is also 34 years old. He's not exactly a young up-and-coming prospect. He's only 1 year younger than Oliveira, but Oliveira's been through the walls, man. I don't know if his chin can handle it anymore. If he comes back and then just subs Gamrot, this will be an absolutely insane scene to see. And for some reason, I can just envision that. I can envision Charles Oliveira subbing him in round 3 and then giving a post-fight interview about how a wounded lion is still a lion and that he's back. And you know what? That's what I want to see, man. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys do drop a like in this video and make sure to subscribe as well, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.